You've tuned into the Bellingham Podcast for the week of July 1, 2018, episode 85. From the city by the Sailor Sea, I am AJ Barce.
And whether you like it or not, I am Chris Powell. On this episode, one thing you should know by now about AJ and me is that we put our money and our time where our mouth is. Last episode, we talked about getting out of the house for social activities around town. Now we're talking about getting out of the house and hiking around. Even if you got a youngin' with a stroller, or you're one of our respected elders with a walker, we got you covered. It's the Urban Hikers Grand Tour next on the Bellingham Podcast.
It's the Grand Tour.
Le Grand Tour.
Le Grand Tour. How you doing, Chris?
Not bad. I'm rocking with Talkin. How about you, AJ?
Not too bad. Happy Wednesday.
Oh, wait, AJ, hang on one second. This just in, we have an announcement about the Bellingham Podcast and how it's been upgraded in its broadcasting empire. Oh, over to you, AJ.
Oh well, yes, from the Bellingham breaking news desk. So you may be listening to us on KMRE 102.3 FM,
low power
community radio here locally, or on your iTunes and Stitcher and Spreaker and all of those other ones. Or you might be listening to us in your car, one of those cool connected cars, through the iHeart Radio app.
Hi, iHeart Radio.
Hi, iHeart Radio. So basically, if you're keeping a bingo list, we are on all of the major podcast channel, whatever distribution networks that you want to say, except for one now.
It starts with an S.
Spotify. Yeah. So we've got everybody except for Spotify, and I'm talking to you, Spotify.
Hi, Spotify. We'd love to be available to you in your search box.
Yes, Spotify editorial team, please shoot us a tweet at #BHamPodcast. So it's really cool news because not all podcasts get accepted into certain channels. Matter of fact, ours, if you search Bellingham and iHeartRadio, we're the only show that shows up.
Woohoo!
So thank you, iHeartRadio.
And this was a breaking news announcement from the Bellingham Podcast News Desk. Back to our originally scheduled program. Let's talk about hiking, shall we? Yes. So my lovely wife and I have a summer plan in which on weekends we are planning on going hiking. And I'm not talking about roaming the arterials of Bellis Fair Mall. We're going hiking to where she really wants to enjoy Mount Baker, going up 542. That's a state route or truck route for y'all playing at home. This past weekend, let's start off with a bang, shall we? Yes. Before you hit the top of Mount Baker, as you pass through Deming and go through Glacier, you're going to encounter the Hannegan Pass and Peak, whatever you want to call it. It's a trail that has a little bit of a parking lot, and unfortunately there was a washout, so people were parking on the streets when we did this. Taking a quote from the WTA Washington Trails Association website to discuss what my wife and I did this past weekend. The first couple of miles have a very gentle grade. It did. Enjoy views of Mount Sephret and the Nooksack Ridge, as well as the sounds of Ruth Creek running below. It had wonderful white noise, kind of like what I fall asleep to when I take a nap. The grade increases. Oh, yeah, it did. Around mile 3, launching into switchbacks at Hannegan Pass Cap, which continue all the way up to Hannegan Pass. The trail up to Hannegan Peak begins with a steadily graded switchbacks that weave through the forest and beautiful alpine meadows with views of Ruth Mountain that improve as you climb. And climb we did, with 1,000 feet of elevation gain in just over a mile. God help me. This is by far the biggest path of the hike. I included some of my own editorializations in that quote. Yeah, we went straight the heck up. And so I'm over 200 pounds. I'm about an eighth of a ton as far as body weight. And my wife is not. She is much slimmer than me. And I was gassed. I couldn't even make it to the peak because that's, boy howdy, the view, I'm sure, I'll take their word for it, is spectacular. But on a warm weekend afternoon, I got destroyed up on that trail. I'm just not. I don't have hiker legs.
So you're not a mountain goat?
No, I'm not.
Props, dude.
How was that hike? It was bad. Yeah. Anyway, no, I had Hannegan Pass. I used this analogy earlier. It's like I've been playing t-ball for a while, going on some of our trails around jaunts around Bellingham, and I just went into the on deck. Or I just went into the batter's box in Safeco Field to play for the Mariners. So yeah, got my butt kicked, but we got outside.
Yeah. How many miles and how many hours did it take you to do it?
Well, we agreed that we'd go an hour and a half up and an hour and a half back. So it took us actually an hour and 15 minutes because it goes much faster when you go downhill. So I learned. And going up, yes, it's a beautiful hike. It's like a one person, not as manicured trail as what we'd find in the typical urban hiking trails, which is what I've been doing for a while. But yeah, go ahead and laugh at me if you will, ladies and gentlemen. But for someone who's new to a hike as opposed to a walk, wow, I got my butt kicked. And so, yes, we're going to be doing this all summer, my wife and me. And so I think we're going to hit like Nooksack Falls next.
Nice. More field reports from the mountain goat.
Stay tuned to this podcast for further developments. Anyway, let's talk more about hiking.
That's really cool. So the way this topic came about is that Chris was telling me the story off the mic, and I was losing it. Which is, dude, seriously, props for doing that, because you are not a hiker.
Yeah.
But for you to do that is skook them.
Well, you know, there's a saying out there that I've got a little bit of a morale patch on my backpack for. It's called "Embrace the suck." Yeah, embrace the suck. So anyway, I don't want my wife, if she's listening. I think she listens to our show. I would hope so. She's one of the 4 that do listen to us.
Hi, Chris's wife.
There you go. I hope she's not discouraged by me talking about this, but I was a little Thor afterwards. But yeah, it was cool, beautiful scenery. It made her very happy. Therefore, that was a good thing. And we had a memory and took lots of pictures on my phone that I had with me.
Cool.
So hopefully, and then our end game, if you will, with all these hikes.
Yeah.
To see there's a reason for the season.
There's meaning.
Yes. We are taking pictures on our phone, and we're getting some frames to be able to put some beautiful pictures on one of the walls in our house in a little bit of a theme. Like this summer we're going on hikes, and this is the beauty of Whatcom County and mountains and crap that we got around here. AJ, talk to us some more about what we can learn about in hiking around this area.
So as I was saying, Chris told me the story and I was losing it, and it made me realize that for some of you who are listening, if you are new to hiking and you're not a mountain goat, you might want to do some research before you go out, because, you know...
Words of wisdom right there, ladies and gentlemen, yeah.
Because there are certain trails around here that can be deceptive, and it's best to check with a community of people that have either been there, or in the case like you mentioned, there was a washout. Like, there's a lot of trails that may be closed for the season or closed for repair. You know, if you're new to hiking, or if you're getting back into hiking, because if you are a new parent and you miss the great outdoors, where can you go when you have a toddler who can't, you know, run a ridge with you because they'll toddle off and, you know, go into a ravine? You don't want that type of stuff.
Or if you are one of our respected elders, as I want to refer to them, and you want to just get out and enjoy some of the beautiful weather, you may have some mobility issues.
Yeah.
Where can you go that doesn't involve twisting ankles and going on potential cliffs without barriers by them? Yeah. Let's get you covered with some reasonable, family-friendly, accessible areas.
So this is the reason why we call it the Urban Hikers Grandtour. These are the T-ball leagues leading up to, if you know, gradually building up to bigger and bigger trails and hikes. If you don't know about this already, if you're in the state of Washington, there is the WTA. No, that is not our transit authority here in Whatcom. It stands for the Washington Trails Association. The WTA, this specific one, began in 1966 as Signpost Magazine, as some of you may remember, and has grown into this big community of hikers and just people promoting our outdoor trails and wildlands. To quote from their website, quote, the voice of hikers this is the voice of hikers of Washington State. We protect hiking trails, wildlands, take volunteers out to maintain the trails, see previous comment about washouts, and promote hiking as a healthy, fun, and way to explore the great outdoors. And it's also for the low price of this activity is free. if you're paying for a gym membership, as Chris Powell can just attest to, take on a Hannegan Pass, and it might, kick your butt more than cleaning.
I never said I was a gym rat, nor I'm a power guy.
Oh, yeah.
But props to all the people, and you're a hiker as well. You got no problem doing this, so I give you the tip of the hat. But for those of you that do combine the beauty that we have in this county and cannot sweat your face off from going uphill, good on you. Keep it up, because it's one of those free things. You just need a good pair of shoes.
Yeah, exactly. And and a day pack and some basic essentials. Matter of fact, you just took your normal backpack up.
Yeah, I took my backpack with a 64-ounce container of water for my wife and I to share, and a little bit of a jacket just in case, because I wasn't sure if it was going to get cold in the upper elevations. One thing to keep in mind, we had to get it wasn't a Discovery Pass, it was a pass for the Washington Trails that you need to put on your car so that you don't get fined. They do charge admission to be able to park in these areas. I went to REI before our hike. I dropped $30 on the annual pass, because we're doing this more than once. It's $5 for a day pass.
Yeah.
So, okay, it's not free, but it's $5 to make sure that you're parking, in a legit manner in one of these trail parking lots.
And there'll be a link in the show notes. All of these are pretty much available at your local REI.
Yeah, REI's got your hookup over there by C. Home
Yeah, but anyway, getting back to the WTA, what's great about this website, WTA.org, is that you can search for trails and see the amount of elevation you may give. And, if they say things like 1,000 feet of elevation in a mile, that's a really steep thing.
Hey,
Chris?
Guess what? Little known fact, 1,000 feet equals 100 floors.
Fun fact.
Back to you.
Okay. So don't just look at the length of the trail. So for instance, if you see something that is, 10 miles round trip, that means 5 miles up,
way up,
and 5 miles down.
Way down.
Especially if that, one leg of it or 1/5 of your hike, you're going to be gaining that much elevation. Just keep that in the back of your mind for the strenuousness of the trek. So anyway, it's a really good resource if you don't know it, and especially if you're here in Washington State, WTA.org.
So let's go back to stroller friendly and walker friendly trails for everyone involved.
So something that I've been looking into, because I've been missing my outdoors, and gone are my days right now of running ridges. And, I have a little one, and I want him to appreciate where we live, and because this is a much of part of him and his growing up and what he's going to become, as it was for his old man. So my wife, gotta love her, she's been doing a lot of play dates and stuff, and she stumbled upon this community called KITT Baby.
There you go.
It's also a hashtag on Instagram, hashtag KITT I did a little bit of digging, because that's what we do. Come to find out, KITT Baby is actually a nonprofit. One of the things that we always love. KITT Baby is basically this group of people, parents, who have these tenants. I think there's 4 or 5 of them, and I'll cover a couple of them in a second. But to pull from their website, KITT Baby is a 501c3 nonprofit organization dedicated to getting new families outdoors and on trails across the United States and internationally by hosting hikes and walks for nearly 300 branches. You heard me right. Here in the United States and in 9 other countries. Since the inception in 2003 in good old Portland, sup Portland?
Hey, Portland.
They're a growing community of 172,000 families, 580 volunteer branch ambassadors, and 5,000 hikes per, get this, month.
That's a lot of walking.
Yeah, and so for such a young profit being established in 2013. Anyway, I thought this was a really cool thing. Basically, it's one of those things where if you are an avid outdoors person, and then all of a sudden you have a family and you miss it, now you can get with a bunch of people in your area that are like-minded, who also are parents. So you can keep the things in mind that families have to do when you have a tot, diapers and such, and having to pause because they have little legs. It's a different pace when you have a little one. And so if you've been missing it and you're like, man, I really wish I had, that's the other thing that I found out, like not everybody in my peer group has kids right now. I'm like one of 3. That's it. And 2 of them in the 3 don't even go out do the outdoors. So we're kind of lonely. So if you fall within that demographic, take a look at hikeitbaby.com. And it's pretty much, from what I understand, majority of their events are free.
Yep.
You can donate. I think their donation minimum is like $10 a year.
That's reasonable.
Yeah, like I said, they're really, really family centric. Those 4 or 5 tenets that they kind of base on are very much akin to the outdoors, respecting nature and using leave no trace ethics. They do have like a welcome circle of introductions, so that even if you're not familiar with the outdoors, they kind of embrace any walk of life to join them in their thing. Leave no family behind. Again, like they believe that they welcome all fitness levels, and they're very embracing. They even have a judgment-free zone tenet, which I thought was kind of nice. They are all inclusive. They're friendly. They're trying to be open, because the more people that embrace the outdoors and get out, one, you have healthier families, and two, we have healthier outdoors.
Absolutely. And looking at the website, earlier you mentioned there's about 300 branches across the United States. I did a little bit of checking to see if there's one around Bellingham. And so if you navigate the website, you'll go by country and then state. You won't see one for Bellingham. You'll see a lot of cities, but you will see one that says Whatcom. So look for the Whatcom County Hike a Baby group. It'll probably require a member, sign in with an online account. But after that, you should have all the information at your fingertips for upcoming events for that.
Yeah.
It's really a good cause.
So speaking of Whatcom and signing in, you might be signing in to us, listening to us, maybe mobile or in a backcountry or in a car. But it doesn't matter. We're over the airwaves because we're on KMRE 102.3 FM.
Low power.
KITT Radio.
That's right.
Here in the urban city of subdued excitement and outdoors goodness.
Yes.
I tried to blend that one. Sorry,
it worked out. We're working it out.
So that's a community for helping people get out and about. Let's look around here in Bellingham and Whatcom outlying areas. Chris, where would you want to start if you had somebody who was in the T-ball leagues of walking, hiking, and trying to get outside?
Yeah. So my wife is an avid hiker. She enjoys all kinds. And so, I don't want to call this white belt to black belt like in martial arts kind of speak, but here's some introductory courses so that you don't get bombed like I did. Around town, we've got a couple available for you. Now, if you know Cordata Parkway is kind of parallels Meridian Street in a lot of ways. It's by Whatcom Community College. It's kind of behind that tech big box store that I don't really want to name.
The one with blue and yellow?
Yeah, the one that you know what I'm talking about. So anyway, if you take Cordata Parkway, you're going to encounter Horton Road. Now, there's also a stoplight off of Meridian on Horton Way, I believe. Take a left, head west on Horton Way. You'll end up in a little bit of a roundabout. Park there with your vehicle. And you have about maybe less than a mile of this beautiful Cordata Park trail. You're among the trees. You got a nicely manicured, somewhat flat trail in which you can take a stroller, go for. It's great. They got some bridges, perfect for the kids to look around and wonder at all the cool stuff. It's between, and if you go one way, it'll end you up around the Tremont area of a whole lot of subdivision of houses. If you go the other way, you'll end up on June Road, which is a new development of a lot of houses by Birchwood Elementary off of Aldrich Street. So that's kind of in the North Bellingham area. Another one that my wife and I always enjoy because we live nearby is the Northridge Park Trail. It's pretty much you got a half-hour walk no matter what route you take. You could take your stroller and work your way around. Lots of beautiful scenery. You're among the quiet of trees. It's really a nice, pleasant area up on Barkley Hill. So, and we have links in the show notes. Drink. So for information, should you be interested in that. But up on Barkley Hill, you got a whole lot of wonderful half-hour jaunts that you can take. And then South Bellingham is Arroyo Park with miles of beautiful how else can you describe it? It's just beautiful with inclines and declines. So if you are one of our respected elders, you're going to want to be able to gauge this accordingly. But once you plow through it, you get some beautiful views of Chuckanut Bay.
Yeah.
And who wouldn't enjoy that? So you got Coronado Park Trail, North Bellingham, Northridge Park Trail up on the hill, and Arroyo Park kind of in South Bellingham here in 9225, 6, 7, and 9.
And I think the way that you did those are pretty much in levels of like easiness.
Yeah.
Like, Coronado, pretty much, I would even say that's probably wheelchair friendly.
Yes.
Elderly friendly, stroller friendly. Northridge, I've taken a stroller on it. Make sure you have one of the big burly wheeled ones,
Yes.
not the little umbrella stand looking ones. Not going to be good on that trail.
Pretty much.
But and then Arroyo, I would not try to take a stroller on that thing.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
I guess if you're looking for a little mid-range for Arroyo Park, that's a very good point,
Yeah.
AJ. So why don't we do this? Let's sub out Arroyo Park for the introductory trails, and let's throw in Squalicum Park.
Okay, that works too.
Because that's a nice little loop. It's Squalicum Park Way. You're going to see this big park with some softball fields, baseball fields over on the side, but they'll have a nice walking trail. There will be an incline in one aspect of it, but that should be a really good one for being able to be stroller, walker friendly.
Totally. Well, no, like I said, I think Arroyo Park is a good one for, especially if you are trying to increase your endurance, because there are some hefty parts.
All right.
So on my side of things, I'm going to start out just with this helpful tip for new parents and you're looking for playgrounds. There's a really cool park, if you haven't been up to it, to our neighbors to the north up in Ferndale, called Star Park.
Oh, yeah.
Now, Star Park is this Goliath, and I mean Goliath, 12,000 square foot Goliath of a kiddo park. It's broken into two areas. You've got kind of the bigger kids and the tots area, and the playgrounds are designed specifically for those demographics. What's cool about this is, if you haven't seen the story, I put a link in the show notes of City of Ferndale Public Works putting this on. There was over 8,000 of hours put into building this.
Lots of volunteers contributed to this. 2,000
donors, and it's really cool because this playground is the epitome of a Pacific Northwest playground. They've got a climbing wall. They've got, the standard jungle gym slides and stuff. They have a little ferry, like a ferry boat, where a kiddo can go on and it kind of sways back and forth so they can practice balance. It's really an active, intensive kids park as opposed to a playground. This thing is really a cool training ground for your kiddo if you want to have them have a lot of wide range of activities, and it's in the show notes. Now back to easy strolling.
Yes. Also
in Ferndale, because I was going north because I knew you would go south and
of
central.
Course.
So I went north, and up in Ferndale next to Hovander Park, instead of hanging in that right, if you were to go straight, you go to Tennant Lake. Now Tennant Lake, when you first pull up there, it's kind of a hidden gem for a lot of Bellinghamsters, because most of us will go up for Hovander Park and especially during the summer. If you go to Tennant Lake, there is what's called the Fragrance Gardens, and what's cool about this area all the way out to the marsh part of the lake, and I'll get to that in a second. There's a viewing tower. This was built with accessibility in mind,
Mm-hmm.
so it was designed from the ground up for being able to get people of all walks of life to be able to stroll and experience the outdoors with a sensory garden. They have I can't remember what they said, some 200 different aromatic species of nostril goodness.
Yes.
I did not know there's something called Egyptian oregano. There is, and you can rub them in your fingers, you can smell them, and it's easy going. If you're an elder, if you have a stroller, if you have a kiddo that is, totally hopped up on sugar, take them there. And let them experience what these plants can smell like.
Since it's a little bit of a hidden gem, Tennant with two N's,
yes.
Tennant Lake in your Maps app, and
yes.
they'll take you straight to it.
Yes, and once you're there, there's kind of three sections. There's the Fragrance Garden, cool. Then they have this cool viewing tower. It's this old looking viewing tower that you go up on top and you have these great views. What's cool about this is if you have accessibility needs and you let's say you're in a wheelchair, or if you're an elder and you can't really take stairs anymore, on the bottom floor they have a viewing cam that you can control. It has a pan tilt zoom camera, so you can get the view through that experience down below, which is really cool.
Awesome.
And then lastly is the wetlands, the marshy area around Tennant Lake. What's cool about this is there is this like hidden boardwalk network that goes out into the tule weeds and lilies. And you can experience, if you're a bird watcher, you'll see really cool birds out there. Your kids will absolutely love all of the cool water bugs that go scurrying about and stuff. All for the low price, again, for free. Just go out, park. There's no parking pass required. It's a Ferndale Park. It's just really cool. So if you haven't done Tennant Lake, that is a really cool, just easy day stroll, regardless of if you're an elder or if you have a stroller or you have a tot that is hopped up on too many Cheerios.
Yeah, we my wife and I took a walk in Tennant Lake around that kind of hidden boardwalk pathway. It's a maze. It's kind of entertaining just to see, because you got the little viewing thing as a kind of a lighthouse that you're kind of navigating around, and like, I'm going far away. I want to go there. Oh, wait, it takes this turn. It's kind of entertaining to just try to find your way around, not unlike a corn maze in some aspects.
Yeah, but you're walking on water, which is really cool.
If I may, before you go to your last one,
proceed number one.
Let's go to Star Park in Ferndale.
Yes.
How would you rate this compared to the Million Smiles Park in Lynden?
It's comparable. So I've been to Million Smiles as well up in Lynden. So Million Smiles is near the water. That's my only concern. So if you have little ones, you have to keep an eye on them.
Oh, yeah.
This thing, like, basically there is one entrance, one exit, like that. You corral them in there. I think Star Park is newer.
Sure.
So,
it is.
But yeah, similar, very like experiential, kinesiology centric playground, as opposed to just it's a jungle gym and swing.
There you go. So, folks in Lynden, if you want to try something different than the Million Smiles, head over to Ferndale, and then Star Park's got you covered.
Yep.
What's the other one you got?
So my last one is for the more avid adventurer. This is one that I just recently went on, and it's one that I've been dying to do. And surprisingly, my wife and I had not done it up until we had a child. So our island neighbor to the south would be Island. If you're familiar with Coopville area, which if you're not, you should. It's an awesome, see previous episodes. I think we did it as a weekend extravaganza trip. What's cool is that area is called Evie's Landing, and there is this awesome photo op bluff that looks straight out of it's been ripped out of like Ireland. Like, it is a awesome bluff with a beach, etc. You do have to have a Washington State Discovery Pass to park there, but you can just toolie about right there at the beach and view this beautiful bluff. So that's kind of your white belt area. The second area is if you park instead of on the beach, if you park in the actual parking lot, there's a trail system that goes up to the bluff. And I think that jaunt is like a 2 mile, and it's a fairly good grade. The option C of this is park up above near the old cemetery so that you don't have to do that first initial incline. You'll be greeted with a very nice, compact, like island mud type of trail, and you'll be able to easily just jaunt out there, even push a stroller. It's a bit of a huff. I did do it with a stroller, and it's... Yeah, I have the big burly wheel stroller, and it had a hard time on this thing. Okay, so you may want to either
the wise.
Pack your kid or have your kid walk, which my toddler did. And then from there, you can hook a right and head up to the bluff. And I believe if you actually round the bluff, there's actually a hidden lake up there. We didn't go that far because we had a cutoff point as well, because it was beaming sun, and I didn't want my kiddo to get totally burnt.
Good idea.
So, but regardless, I think the whole grand tour of that, from the ocean to the lake and back, I think is round trip maybe 6 miles. So it's an easy leveling experience depending on where you want to be. If you want to be fairly flat, stay with the sands. If you want to do a little bit of a walk up, you can start from the bottom and get to what's called the Bluff Junction. Or if you were like me and you have a little one, because they can't do that big hill initially, park by the cemetery and then walk out or hike out to the bluff, and then you can hike up to the last little bit. It's a great view. If it's a big sunny beaming day, pack lots of sunscreen.
Yep, please,
because you are right there at the cliff of the island. The ocean is reflecting that sun, and I got toasty.
You got all crispy, huh? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some have trees, some don't.
Yes.
And some have water, some don't. There you go.
So anyway, that's my last one for the more advantageous, especially gets you onto an island. So that wraps it up for this outdoors edition of the Bellingham Podcast. Thank you again so much for listening to us wherever you like to listen to us, including iHeart Radio. If you're in the Bellingham area, be sure to tune in to us on Camry 102.3 FM.
iHeart Low Power.
Community radio here in the heart of the city by that Salish Sea. On that note, Spotify, please get us in. I'm AJ Barce.
And I'm Chris Bell. Thanks once again for joining us on the Bellingham Podcast. That was fun.
That was cool.
We were outside last episode recording. Now we're inside recording about to being outside.
I know. That was my mistake.
It's all good.